President Clinton and our First Lady Hillary Rodham Clinton, my wife Tipper and I have all worked on balancing work and family. Tipper and I have a workshop each year in Nashville, Tennessee. The President and First Lady came when we focused on this topic, and we talked about after-school programs there. The C.S. Mott Foundation has stepped forward in an effort to try to focus a very powerful national conversation about this. Quality after-school programs represent a critical piece of our strategy to prepare America's children and families for the 21st century. I believe that after-school programs are critically important for 4 reasons. Number one, as many of you here know very well, balancing work and family is critical and extremely difficult. People feel torn between being at home with the charms and chores of raising children and on the other hand, being at work to earn the resources necessary to put food on the table and pay the mortgage and pay all of the other expenses necessary to raise a family. And with more working parents, 2-parent and 1-parent families, that balancing act is assisted greatly by having high-quality after-school programs. Now, number 2, after-school programs represent a chance to turn a major problem into a major opportunity. How many people here realize that the hours between 2 p.m. and 6 p.m. or 3 and 7, that period between the school bell and the factory whistle, if you want to put it that way, how many people realize that that is the period of time when it is most common for young people to get involved in crime, for young people to be victims of violence or perpetrators of violence? It is the most common time for young teenage girls to become pregnant. It is one of the most common times for young people to try drugs or alcohol or tobacco for the very first time in their lives. Now, we can take that problem period and turn it into an opportunity period, because they need protection at times when they're vulnerable. We've all heard innumerable times the old saying that idle hands are the devil's workshop. Well, our mothers were absolutely correct when they told us that. And when you have millions of latchkey kids, millions of forgotten adolescents, millions of kids who in a family that's pressured by that balancing act kind of makes the assumption, okay, they're old enough to be on their own. If they had an opportunity to put them instead into a quality after-school experience, oh, that would be such a relief for parents and such a form of protection and crime prevention and tragedy prevention for our children. So that is the second reason. Third, getting the children off the street corners and sidewalks during those hours is about more than just keeping them out of trouble. In order to meet our educational challenge, we need to take advantage of every one of these precious hours. And we can give them a rich menu of possibilities. Learning how to use computers, learning how to play a musical instrument, learning art and drama, learning business transaction skills. All kinds of skills at the choice of the student and the families can be acquired during this period. So it is critically important for that reason. Now, the fourth and final reason why I think these programs are so important is that every community in our nation already has a huge sunk investment that can be used for this task. Yet the school buildings close down every afternoon and they're vacant, when instead they could be used as centers of learning and community building all day long, with relatively small incremental investments to make sure that there are well-trained supervisors and instructors and facilitators there. We can use our schools as community centers and after-school care centers for all of these reasons. So we're trying to spread the word, and we're trying to learn more about what works and how to have these successful models used all over the United States.
Across the country, parents, teachers, and community leaders are raising concerns about providing kids with safe, healthy, and productive things to do in after-school hours. This is particularly important in neighborhoods with poverty, gangs, violence, single-parent families, and parents working. One community that has taken action is Los Angeles, where parents and educators are working hand in hand to provide high-quality after-school programs for children who need them the most. 10 years ago, the Office of the Mayor and the Los Angeles Unified School District teamed up to create LA's Best, Better Educated Students for Tomorrow, a program that offers kids an exciting variety of enrichment activities in safe and supervised environments. LA's Best operates in elementary schools during the critical after-school hours of 3 to 6 p.m.
Programs like LA's Best are needed today really more than ever before, because in the history of this country, there have never been so few adults at home after school. And the need is really twofold. We're talking about a need for supervision, and we're talking about a need for academic enrichment.
When the school bell rings at the end of the day, LA's Best students can choose from a wide range of enrichment activities, from homework assistance, computers, reading class, sports and dance, to eating a nutritious snack.
I feel safe here because there's a lot of grown-ups around.
LA's Best is really fun because you do different things. I like being in the program because there's a lot of fun stuff. And I like on computers going on the internet.
The kids love it. They get a chance to do almost any activity they like. They get free choices. It's not like they're forced to do any one activity. So the children really love to be here.
LA's Best is really making a difference. 10 years ago, the program served 2,000 kids in 10 schools. Now, it's up to 5,000 kids in 24 schools. Why is it growing? 'Cause it works. Independent studies of LA's Best show that children who take part in the program do better academically and have more positive attitudes towards school. By reconnecting key community stakeholders, LA's Best is helping to revitalize the neighborhoods in which these after-school programs operate. Communities across the country see the LA's Best program as a model. The keys to their success: leadership, hard work, flexibility, and most of all, a strong focus on kids in need.
I think that's what we're seeing in this country for after-school programs. A groundswell for the need, for the importance, and for what I believe will be an entitlement for all children to be able to have a safe and supervised place to go after school.
My name is Marguerite Victor. I'm a third grade teacher at Fitzhoward Elementary, New Orleans. I started working with children after school because they would come up to me. Work is over at 2:30, but I'm there till 5. And ask, Ms. Victor, would you help me with reading or math or language? I said, sure, come on. So it started out with like 20 children every evening I had to tutor. So this year, I kind of like slacked up with them because I started off working kind of sick. I'm the everyday going teacher. And eventually still wind up with like 10 of them there. Ms. Victor, would you please help me with my math? I said, sure, come on. So now I'm working with a right reading group for 2nd and 3rd graders. And we have about 30 to 40 of them there. You ought to see how they love it. All during the day. I see you this evening, Ms. Victor.
Oh, yeah.
It's enjoyable.
Do you love it too?
I love it. That's why I do it. That's
You know,
my daughter.
we could all kind of get the feeling that you love it.
I love it. That's
Well, bless
my
you
daughter
for...
with outreach. I do it volunteer.
Where?
2nd row, just.
Aren't you proud of your mom? Aren't you proud of your mom? Well, my parents would embarrass me occasionally when I was your age, and I was proud of them too. Gil Kurlikowski is the police commissioner in Buffalo, New York. And Commissioner, you have described after-school programs as powerful anti-crime weapons. Can you elaborate?
They are, Mr. Vice President. It costs a lot less to operate these programs than it does to prosecute kids after they get in trouble. The structured learning that takes place is important, and we certainly support that, but having the police as partners is also important. We can help in these programs because we provide values, the kinds of armor that are going to protect these kids from getting involved in gangs. All of these things kind of come together, and the police should be looked at as a helpful partner in these. Sadly, I don't think enough of these programs are available. But you should also know, too, that police chiefs, and I'm speaking on behalf, by the way, of the major cities police chiefs, the largest organization representing 49 large cities. We support these, and in a poll done of police chiefs, 9 out of 10 police chiefs said that they would rather have money put into early childhood intervention, early childhood education, before giving the money to us for more police officers. That's important.
Well, it is, and when you see when you see the crime statistics go down in every single category, you know that we're doing some things right. It took a little longer for the statistics to start improving with juvenile crime. They're now beginning to. But one reason is we've been listening to the police officers who have urged us to focus on prevention. Now, you heard me talk about these statistics, Commissioner. Do you know of examples of youth crime and youth violent crime during that period after school, before the parents come home?
We know that that is prime time for juvenile crime, and it's important that although curfews help, that isn't when all of the things that are occurring with these kids is happening. It is after school. The structured, safe environment that we can all work together to provide is important. And you know, when you came to Buffalo and helped us on a project involving violent juvenile crime, that was about 3.5 years ago. That was when juvenile violence was increasing. Because of the work together, the collaborations, all of us in this country are safer, and we've seen juvenile crime decrease even when some experts told us it was going to skyrocket.
Yes, sir, right here.
Yes, Mr. Vice President. My name is Philip Jack. I'm the Director of Administration for the Virtual Y in New York City. We're at the YMCA of Greater New York. We're an association of 19 YMCAs. And we are in the first year, full year of the Virtual Y, which is a partnership with government, the schools, and many businesses. For example, the Virtual Y is free, and it's free because we have sponsors donate money. They get a banner, their name's on the school, and they have a relationship with the school, but we have them pay for the actual operation of the Virtual Ys throughout the city. We currently have about 98 sponsors available right now, and we have 66 Virtual Ys running now. We had 10 pilot sites at the end of last year, and we're currently trying to choose 120 for next year with a goal of 200 in 1999. So that means we're going to have 200 sponsors for September of 1999 to operate all of the Virtual Ys throughout New York City.
That's great. Let's say I'm the CEO of a corporation, and you are trying to create this partnership. What's your pitch?
It's exposure for your company. It's also looking to the future. You're going to want workers, right? In New York City, we have a lot of kids, as you've heard from other people, that are latchkey kids. They get into trouble, they go to jail, different things happen to them, crime happens to them. If we have them in a safe environment, if we get them the self-esteem and the type of support, not only for the kids, but for the teachers and the parents, then we can have future workers that are going to get that high school diploma, that are going to go to college, that are going to succeed, that really have the self-confidence and have the interest in going to school and becoming members of society.
Who's created a program? Yes, ma'am, please tell us your name. And
I'm Sister Judy Donovan. I'm an organizer with the Industrial Areas Foundation, and across the Southwest we're in relationship with about 250 schools, all of which have created or are creating after-school enrichment programs. And there are a lot of ways to measure the success of those programs. We've seen increase in student achievement on tests, increased parental engagement in the schools, increased morale among teachers and staff. But more importantly, we've seen a change in the relationships between families, the community, and the schools. So that parents are not seeing themselves as just volunteers, they're seeing themselves as educational leaders and innovators. And teachers are seeing themselves as collaborators with the parents. Community groups such as churches and neighborhood organizations are getting invested in the success of their neighborhood schools again. And perhaps most importantly, kids themselves are really excited about learning. One of these programs is Sam Houston Elementary in McAllen, Texas, and a parent was telling the teacher there that their child was begging to go to school even though she had a fever because she was so excited about what she's doing in the after-school program. So that's success, and we attribute that to this broader base of stakeholders that come together to create these programs.
Well, I think it's very important that the school system interacts with all of our civic partners. We try to act as a city with a partner with the Detroit Board of Education. We've provided funds to keep our schools open beyond school hours. As a mayor of the city of Detroit, I have no responsibility or governance over the school board, but I believe as a former school teacher and a parent of two fine boys that it is important for the cities to step up. And so we've provided funds to provide recreational staff to go into our schools to keep our schools open beyond normal school hours. And it has worked very well for our community, and I just wish I had more money with which to keep most all of our schools open.
The problems that we have in Burlington, Vermont are the same as they are, whether it be in the deep south or the mid part of our country or the urban cities or whatever. They're the same problems. Kids need more education. Kids need things to do that are meaningful. Millions and millions need help. We need to use those schools all day long and to make sure that we maximize them. They're valuable pieces of property, and to only keep them open during the school is a total waste of that resource. The school is there and it's available. And it's available from daylight right up through to the late evening, and we ought to utilize it. And we can utilize it in so many ways, as the opportunity is there for helping kids after school learn or to expand their visions and to let them know that there's a lot in life outside of the schoolroom and outside of their home.
A philosopher once said, life is full of opportunities disguised as problems. We started this discussion by pointing out all of the problems that our communities and our families face today because so many millions of children get out of school at 2 or 2:30 or 3 and go to empty homes where the parents don't get home from work until 6 or 7 or 7:30. Violence, crime, teen pregnancy, substance abuse, aimlessness, hopelessness. These are problems that can be turned into opportunities because those same hours of every day can be used in quality after-school programs to give these children, instead of problems and temptations, opportunities to learn new skills, new knowledge, to learn how to learn better. And in the 21st century, those skills are going to be even more important. So I'd like to close with a challenge. First of all, to parents, to get involved in helping to create these programs. To business leaders, to get involved in putting together partnerships and helping to provide some resources at the community level for these programs. I'd like to challenge teachers and principals to help create these programs in their schools. Thank you for joining us today in this national conversation.